Yeah, okay. Have you got the signal? You're live?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Oh, what's this? Chinny, you got something on your camera on this side or that side? It's
blackish.
Blackish. Is there something blocking your camera?
It's just my background.
Oh, it's just the background. Okay.
Does it matter?
Okay, you got to turn off your sound. The signal? Turn off the sound on your
Yes.
side. All right. Okay. Oh, what's this? Chinny, you got something on your camera on this side or that side?
Let me hang.
It's
Blackish.
blackish. Is there something blocking? Okay. Yes, that's better. Chin, you got to turn off your sound.
I think you
I turn off my sound. I turn off my sound.
Yes. All right. Okay.
Oh,
wait, I think it's me.
No.
Hold on. Oh, yeah, it's me. Chin, you got some. Okay, sorry, I turn off here. It's me. Okay. Cool. Okay. All right. Okay. I hope that can you get Jermaine to turn on the GC Live? All right. Okay. Now let's go live on Facebook. Okay. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. I cannot see on YouTube other people in already. Let me just take a quick look and see.
GC Live, huh?
Yeah, just turn on. Just we're live now. Just tell Jeremy we're live now. Turn on GC Live. Oh, 59 people already. All right, cool.
Yes.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen on YouTube. We are starting a little bit early because we got many machines to turn up. So, meanwhile, you just hang on for a while for a few minutes, and just hang on a while for a few minutes, and we'll go live. Meanwhile, I gotta turn up the other machines as well. Okay, let's go. 1, 2, and 3. Really can't see you. Okay. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wow. Okay. We have got hi, good evening, everybody on Facebook and Instagram. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, everybody. Yes. Good evening, everybody. Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, everybody. Yes. Wow. Good evening, everybody. Hey, Suhaina. Yes, good to see you. Yes. Did I
Suhai.
Ma. Okay.
Norma.
Maldivilaga. Sorry.
Hi, Faith.
Faith,
Hello.
good to see you. The Instagram
Hi,
names are
Vincent.
more difficult to pronounce. Yes. Vincent,
Hi,
Chris. Hi.
Hi, Joyce.
Hi.
Hi,
Okay.
Maria.
Yes. I want your has she actually activated GC Live? Okay. Let's tell her. Okay. So right now, okay, for those people on Facebook, Instagram, okay, I need y'all to migrate over to YouTube, okay? And the reason is Mr. Soh, okay, the super financial guru that we invited tonight, okay, is on YouTube only, okay? And that's a very complicated process to be able to. Tonight, I got 5 screens in front of me, okay? 5 screens, plus 1 light, okay? So, which is a tape with a scotch tape and things like that. So I need you all to migrate over to YouTube because that's the best experience. Then you can see Mr. Soh in person. He's the only person. He's the only person that's not only wiser than me, also more handsome than me. Yeah. Usually someone is wiser than me but not more handsome, or he's more handsome but not wiser.
It's Mr. Lu's guru.
Yeah.
So
I need you all to type. Is it on already?
how to view YouTube?
Okay. Give me a minute now. I need to live the system first. Okay. Yes. So thank you. Okay. I'll give you all the cue. Just give me a minute. Once you go live, let me know. Okay. Yes. All right. You go to YouTube and look for 1M65. Okay. Or okay. You type. Is it live already?
No, not yet.
Okay. I'll give you a key. Okay. I'll give you a key. 1M65YT plus 1. Okay. And then you just key, and then you send the messenger, and then you jump off from there. Okay, cool. Yes. YouTube is just look for 1M65, okay? 1M65. Tonight is, and when you go to YouTube, please remember, click like and subscribe, okay? Very, very important for me, okay? Yes, I've got the very, very, very important guest here waiting for us, okay? Yes, not only is he wiser, he's more handsome. Very rare combination.
Mr. Soh was my boss.
Hazel Tan was your, Mr. Soh was your boss. Well, you're very lucky. I'm sure he's a good boss. Okay, I also want to work for him, but I'm not good enough to work for him. Okay, do you know Hazel Tan, Chin Heng?
Yes.
Okay, yes, you hear Mr. Okay, can you say something just to welcome everybody? They can hear you, but they cannot see you. Yes.
Hello, everybody. Chin Heng here. Happy to join you tonight.
Wow. Okay. So I need you all to migrate over to YouTube. Okay. YouTube is you call it?
I called already. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. 1M65YT plus 1. If it doesn't work, just look for 1M65 in YouTube. Okay. Right. We have got a very, 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 very high level important guest today. Okay. Yes. So we don't want to miss this opportunity. Right. In some other channels, they invite movie stars or whatsoever. Today, this person might change your life. Okay, it's not entertainment value, life-changing experience. Okay, okay. I know Chin Heng will feel very uncomfortable when I say something like that. Okay, Eileen, you might want just jump to YouTube and look for 1M65. Okay, you should find a channel and the video will be there. Okay, YouTube. Yes, there's lots of people tonight. Okay, lots of people. And those people on YouTube, okay, we are a bit early, but please click like and subscribe. Very important. Then we'll promote the video, okay? Yes, thanks for informing your friend as well. Yes. Okay, cool. 165YT plus 1. And for those people on Instagram, the same thing, okay? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yes, very important. Yeah, you could call her, please. Yeah, I cannot wait. Yes. Yes. Okay. So there are a few hundred of you guys in Facebook and Instagram. I need you all to migrate over to YouTube, okay? Where you get to see Mr. Soh in person, okay? Yes, as I said.
Just 1M65YT plus 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is up?
Is it up? Yes. Is it up? It's up.
Is up. Okay, 1M65YT plus 1, key in. It will give you a link and then you can jump from there. For those people on Instagram, all you need to do is just go to Facebook and go to YouTube and just look for 165. Okay. All right. So once you are here, how do I see all the comments? Sorry, this is the first time I. How do I see all the comments? Gosh. Okay, I'm trying to look for all the comments. All the comments on YouTube. Oh, here. Yes, must be here. Okay, everyone. Yes. If y'all can see they're all here. Wow. Okay. YouTube image not so clear. It's okay. Then Mr. Lu will always look good. Okay, cool. So those people who just entered into the Facebook, please jump over to YouTube. Okay. And then from YouTube there, we'll start the talk. Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are very, very fortunate to have the honor of inviting Mr. Soh Chin Heng. Okay. Yes. Mr. Soh Chin Heng, it's a big shot. Okay, there are some people are just important people. Mr. Soh Chin Heng is a big shot. It's a big shot in my life as well as in many of your life, because a lot of you pick up the learning from me, and guess who I pick up the learning from? Yes, Mr. Soh. Yes. Okay. So Mr. Soh Chin Heng. Okay, Mr. Soh Chin Heng was the ex-deputy CEO of CPF board, okay? And so today he has retired, and I don't know why he want to retire so young. It's very, very young, okay? He's just a few years older than me, but he still continues to serve as a senior advisor to the CPF board, okay? So all the big shots in CPF board still have to give him some respect and listen to him, right? He has been my financial mentor for 20 years. 20 years, okay? Almost all the investment tips that I've given you, all the knowledge I've given you were foundations built by him, okay? This is a man who freely gave his time and energy for me and never asked anything for return. Okay, such is how great a man. Okay, so I need you all, for those on YouTube and on Facebook, sorry, those on Facebook and Instagram, migrate over to YouTube right now. Okay, there are 529 of you all, and quickly get to see the man himself. Okay, yes, right, cool. Now, today, what we are lined up for you, okay, Mr. Lu is green outside the blue. What do you mean? Okay, yes. Mr. Lu is a big shot, but he's an incredibly humble and nice person. Yeah, nice and humble, down-to-earth person. That you are right. Okay, that you're right. Is a 老师师傅. So you can, if you call me Sifu, which I humbly, I humbly accept just for tonight, then he's 师公, Xi Gong, yeah, is 2 level up. So we must give him. So I call him Sifu, you got to call him 师公. Okay, yes. Okay, so we have we've got 559 of you already on YouTube. Okay, so I need you all to each give a like. Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, so maybe I'll give this time over to Chin Heng. Okay, just to let him say a few words before we start the very interesting interactive session. How about that? For those people who want to stick on to Facebook, for if your YouTube is not working for whatever reason, okay, you can still hear him, just that you can't see him. As I said, he's one of the rare people that are more handsome and smarter than me. Yeah. Okay. Usually there are a lot of people more handsome than me, but rarely more handsome and smarter than me. Anyway. All right. Good. Over to you, Chin Heng.
Okay, thanks, Lou. Hi, everybody. Happy to join you all today. After all these things that Lou has said a lot about me, I don't know how to respond. I only say I agree with Lou on one thing, that I'm more handsome than him. Yay! On the other hand, I have to say I disagree with him about one thing. He say I'm a few years older than him. Hey, rubbish! I'm only 35 years old. He got his math wrong.
Okay.
Anyway,
That's
there's some
fine.
nonsense from me. I don't know what to expect of this session. This is the first time I'm doing something like that. I basically say yes when Lou asked me to join in. So I hope you have mercy on me. Don't ask me too difficult questions. I'll try to answer as best as I can. And of course, very important qualifier I need to make is that I'm here in my personal capacity, not in any official CPF capacity. So don't quote me and use that as an authoritative position from CPF board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, well, there are a lot of people now writing. Charles said that confirm more handsome. Okay, Mr. Soh look very young. Okay, Mr. Soh, you look young, okay. Mr. Soh is young at heart. Okay, clearly his fertilizer on the head is more than mine. Okay, but I can assure you, he's just slightly older than me. Yes, he look like Archie.
Let me jump in here. I have to confess lah. So Lou is right on this. So in slightly more than 2 months time, I'll be reaching that magical CPF age of 55.
Wow. Okay, cool. And will you be withdrawing money?
Of course not. Why would I?
Okay, so this Guru say, okay. For those people who just came in, we are very fortunate tonight. We have Mr. Soh Chin Heng joining us for a special talk. This is a rare occasion that we have a really very big shot like him coming in. Okay, Mr. Soh Chin Heng is, hey, nobody give like one now, or is it in YouTube nobody can give like? Yeah, okay. Mr. Soh Chin Heng is not just wise. He was the deputy CEO of CPF board now. Yeah. Okay. How many of you can become deputy CEO? I also cannot. Yeah. But he's very, very good. Okay. He's not just very, very good. He's very, very wise. He's so wise. Okay. He's so wise that he has impacted many lives. Okay. Not only impacted lives with he himself, but through people like me, whom he taught, he also impacted many lives as well. So for those people who don't know, he's my Sifu for 20 years. So therefore, so for those people who humbly accept me as your mentor or a financial educator, he's your Xi Gong. Yeah. So it's yes. So hair not dye, thick and black, must be full of knowledge. Okay. You dye your hair, no? Okay, but that shouldn't be it. You don't answer a question. Okay.
I'll keep that a secret.
Okay, so Okay, so I want to die also, nothing like that's the problem with me. Okay, so great. Okay, so tonight what we have lined up for you is exciting time because very rare we got such a smart person like him. You may not notice sometimes when you're fire off very tough questions at me, okay, I actually don't know how to answer because I don't know the answer. Okay, sometimes I tell you I don't answer, sometimes I just ignore the question, not because I don't want to answer, it's because I don't know how to answer. Okay, but tonight we've got Mr. Soh. Okay, he's got really the right person to help us answer a lot of questions, but he's today here in a personal capacity. So don't you say, wow, Mr. Soh say this, therefore that's a CPF answer, okay? It's personal capacity. If I don't invite personal capacity, I won't have a chance to visit him, okay? Yes, so smash the like button, okay? For everybody who just came in, smash the like button, especially in YouTube. All right, cool. What's the link to YouTube? 1865YT plus 1, 1865YT plus 1, YouTube plus 1, and you'll jump you over to YouTube and you please join there, okay? We have now close to 1,000 people in this talk live right now, okay? So let me fire off by kicking off with some exciting question. And you all can send in your questions, okay? You can send your questions ideally to YouTube. Oh, sorry, can you ask Wei Jie to go to the YouTube and ask Jermaine to go tong down for me, please. Because the question coming fast and furious. Go to YouTube.
To YouTube.
Yeah, to YouTube. Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, let me ask a few let me tell you what I've gathered so far as tough questions, okay? There are a lot of people say, CPF is a Ponzi scheme. They take money from existing people and they give the money out to people who pay out, okay? So therefore, Ponzi scheme will die off once the number of people get less, right? So is CPF a Ponzi scheme? Today, Mr. Soh will help me answer this question, okay? Well, then someone say, wow, Mr. Lu, you teach so many people 1865 how to top up a special account, how to top up, make money or CPF, do stamp drive, whatever. If everybody learn from you, will CPF become pokai, right? Remember a lot of people ask this question? Yeah, okay. So, and another question I think is very important for many people is CPF Life. I kid you not, CPF Life is so complicated, okay, that despite me learning, reading, whatsoever, I still cannot catch it. So a lot of times you ask me what CPF Life is, I just say that CPF Life, I don't need bother because, you know, I got so much CPF, I don't need bother, but that's the wrong answer. The truth is, actually, I don't know how to answer. But today we got Mr. Soh here, they will help you answer some of these CPF Life question, okay? And there are, you know, the other question that some people ask me is special account shielding. Remember, I told you about this. You know, I was in Italy. I took out this spoon and this fork and this knife, and then I'll try to show you how to shift money over and make money. Do you remember the talk I give you? Okay. A lot of people say, wait, I'm not 55 years old yet. You know, what if the government shut down the SA shielding, right? So expert here ask him, would that happen or not? Okay. Yes. So yeah. So plus a few other tough questions. Are you all ready for tonight? You know, ready for tonight? You know, just click like, you know, and write that I'm ready, so that I can start. Okay. Are you guys ready? Wow, the questions come fly. I don't even think my admin can be ready with the questions. Okay, cool. Yes, okay. For those people who cannot see Mr. Soh, it's okay. Then you always know that there's a smart and handsome man like me. Because once you see him, you say, hey, Lu cannot pass. Yeah, okay, cool. But if you want to see the handsome and smart man, jump over to YouTube, 1865 YouTube, and remember, click a like there. Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, if you are ready, say you're ready, okay? Say you're ready and we'll start. Okay, there's a lot of people ready. All right, 768 of you there. Please hit a like, okay? So let's start, okay? Let's go for the most important question to me first, okay? That one I don't know how to answer. So Chin Heng, can you please help us to decipher this? If every one of us start shifting all our money over to SA, top it up the full 192,000, then many of us will have become so rich. If someone becomes so rich, someone must be poor, right? Okay, I mean, technically, okay, so that's a misconception maybe or the right perception, you know, that we all have. Will the CPF one day be pokai by because our 1865 movement is so successful now? Okay, so over to you.
Okay, thanks. So the question is whether CPF will become bankrupt if more and more people put more of their monies in the special account. So I find that quite a funny way of thinking. So pardon me if I rub somebody off the wrong way. So if more people put money in, then why should the fund be bankrupt? So imagine maybe a way to think about this. Think of CPF like a fund, right? You invest in a fund, a unit trust, and things like that. So then you are having a situation where more and more people are putting money into the fund. The fund is accumulating assets, and so it's getting bigger. So if the fund gets bigger, why would it get bankrupt? Actually, if the fund gets bigger, it's better. Yeah, it's accumulating more funds, and it probably means that the cost of the fund, the expense ratio is getting lower, right? More or less, the overheads are the same, but you have more funds, so then it become cheaper to run as a percentage. So it's better, what? So the big funds, there are many big funds out there in the world. They're typically their expense ratio is cheaper than smaller funds. So it's a good thing to have a big fund. So the key question then, I think, lies in what happened to the money that I put in, right? Of course, if the money is spent, right, then there'll be no money to pay out.
Go and pay the minister's salary, is it?
Right. Right, but of course, you know that's not the case. In a CPF, you got individual accounts. It's recorded how much you have put in. It's recorded how much interest you get. So the monies are invested rather than spent. So it's very similar. Think of it very similar to a fund, a unit trust. So why should it be bankrupt just because you have more money? You should be concerned the other way around. If there's less money, then it become more and more expensive to maintain the fund. Then chances of it becoming non-viable will then be truer.
Okay. Actually, that leads to another very tough question I always gonna, which I cannot explain very properly, because you know the problem with government is that it's not that they are not transparent. They're too transparent with very sophisticated language. So ordinary people like us are catch no ball. Okay, so maybe now that you say, okay, now that you describe the CPF like a fund, like a bank or like an investment house or things like that, I think we can't kind of catch it. But what happened to our CPF money? Where when the government when our salary get credited in CPF, what actually happened to it so that you will eventually one point in time, later in point in time, we'll be able to give back our money with interest. So maybe you can describe to us what happened to our CPF money behind the scene, okay?
It's invested in special government bonds. So let me try to put it in as simple a manner as I can. Although, of course, when I use simple terms, it may not be 100% accurate. So just now I said, think of CPF like a fund. So more specifically, think of it like a bond fund. This is a fund that only sells you bonds, don't sell you equity. So it's a relatively investment term, more safer, less risky, right? So when you put the money in, you are buying bonds, right? You're buying bonds, and in this case, you're buying bonds from the government. So this is where then, while it is generally a bond fund, it is not exactly like a bond that you would buy if you buy from the market from a unit trust, a bond fund. In this case, the in a market bond fund, the price of the bond will also fluctuate. But in the case of the CPF bond fund, the price doesn't fluctuate. What you put in is the amount that you use to buy the bond. So you see in your account how much the money, right? So if there's no changes, no inflow, no outflow, the money stays the same. So that's that unique feature of this CPF bond fund. And then in a sense, the interest or the dividends you get out of it is what the government pays, or the government has announced you will pay. Like, for example, the 2.5% if the money is in the OA bond fund, or 4% at least in the SA bond fund, kind of thing. So if you think of it like a bond fund, then it's probably easier to envisage how the CPF operates. Then when the CPF board buys a bond, this special government bonds from the government, it means we hand over the money to the government. The money is what you have contributed through working, your working contribution, or what you voluntarily put in, right? So the government uses this money for its investment, send it to GIC to invest and all that. But then the government promised that it will return you the money when it's due, and then it will pay you the interest. So in a sense, what the government does with the money is the government's prerogative. But what the government promised is that with this bond that you purchase from them, it will pay you certain guaranteed interest rates, depending on whether the money is from the ordinary account, special account, or Medisave account.
So does the money goes to, okay, so from what you described, the money effectively transferred to government through a bond exchange. They sell CPF bond, CPF gives the government money, then government then invest the money. So does the money go to GIC only, or is it go to fund some of the government expenses, or also go to Temasek, okay, or also go and pay government minister salary? Okay. So is there a restriction?
You're trying to be cheeky here. So how the government uses its money, that's the government's prerogative. But I think publicly the government has stated that the money is then the government hands the money to GIC, which is the government's investment manager, to invest the funds. And of course, whether it's those invested funds, whether it's by GIC or by Temasek and so on, now in the current government framework, so a certain portion of it can be used to fund the nation's the government's budget.
I see. Great. Okay. So that's a great answer. Okay. So at least now we all know where the money goes, and basically go into investment and funding government infrastructure and so on. I think part of it will probably be in GIC, my guess. Okay. So I don't think there is worry. For those people who just came in on YouTube, those people just came on Facebook, the experience is best on YouTube. So hit 1865 YT plus 1, 1865 YT plus 1, which and then from there you jump over to our YouTube channel, okay? Or if you can't find, you just look for 1865 in YouTube, okay? I have a ton of questions right now, man. Okay, so maybe let's ask the next question. There are accusations of CPF being a Ponzi scheme. For those people who don't know what a Ponzi scheme is, means that you ask people to give a group of people together and ask everybody for a sum of money each. Then you promise everybody some returns, and you basically take money from left pocket, right pocket. So you don't really invest, you don't really grow whatsoever. So a lot of people say that the CPF is like a Ponzi scheme, right? So let's ask Mr. Soh what is his comment on this thing called accusation of CPF being a Ponzi scheme.
Okay, I think the test of a Ponzi scheme, that means when you really know it's a Ponzi scheme, is you got money, right? Then you try to withdraw it and you can't, right? So the money is gone missing, and then you say the fund manager, then it's all a Ponzi scheme. So then look at it from this specific issues lah, right? So you are 55 or above, you are waiting for your retirement payout every month. If you have $1,000 that you can withdraw, and you try to withdraw it, and you don't get the $1,000, then something is wrong, right? If your retirement payout comes every let's say third of the month, and on the third of the month it didn't turn up, something is wrong. So has that happened? Right? Ask those who are above 55 who are receiving the retirement payout, has that ever happened? And bear in mind that the CPF is 60 over years old. Has that happened in any of the 60 over years old? I haven't heard anything, right? When I was working in CPF board, I keep writing checks, making payments all out. Nobody has make a verified accusation that they didn't receive their payments. Maybe you're younger and say, I don't know lah, I don't know yet, I'm not the 55 yet, I'm not enjoying my retirement payout yet. But I say in this day and age, if there is such a incident, very quickly you'll be all in the social media. Has that thing has that thing happened? And even if you don't talk about the retirement, right? In CPF, there are many users. So one big users is for medical expenses, right? So when you need medical treatment, you use your MediSave. So if the money the money from the CPF that you authorize to use to pay the payment is not made to the medical institution, do you think the medical institution will not make noise, right? So all the payments are being made. But I think the most obvious example will be in the area of housing, right? So much money has been invested in housing. So much money go into making housing payments, mortgage payments every month to make down payments, which are big amounts. So when a Singaporean uses money for his property, some of it is in cash, some of it is CPF, has some of those payments that are supposed to be made in CPF not gone through. If they don't go through, then why do you think the bank? Do you think the bank will just keep quiet and swallow the losses? Cannot be, right. So all this probably give a sense that it's a very efficient system at play, and all the payments have been made out. So I don't know how people can substantiate that this is a Ponzi scheme.
Okay, very good. Okay, so I hope that this will set everybody's heart at peace on this accusation. The other one that comes up. Okay, first of all, I think I got like 50 questions right now. I don't even know whether we can answer all the questions, but we'll try. Okay, one common question I see is on our interest rates. Not everybody loves the government. Not everybody loves the CPF. Of course, clearly, not everybody loves the ruling party, but everybody loves the interest rate of CPF. Okay, this precious 4%, precious 4 to 5 to 6%, precious 2.5%. Everybody are asking the question, hey, is this is this CPF interest rate sustainable in the long run?
Sustainable in the long run.
Will it change? Basically, will it change? Yeah, they are very afraid that they put money in then later, wow, all the interest rates start to drop. Yeah, they're all very worried. Yes,
I would say yes, actually. And in fact, this is something that is public. The government has announced its policy on the longer-term CPF accounts interest rate structure, meaning the special account and the MediSave, that is pegged to the 10-year government bond rate plus 1 percentage points, right? So that was announced sometime almost like 15, 16 years ago, right? Except that at the point of announcement, because the previous interest rate policy was 1.5 percentage points above the ordinary account rate. So in the ordinary account rate being 2.5%, so the special account, MediSave account then end up paying 4%. And so because of that guarantee, that 4% guarantee previously, while the government announced a new interest rate formula, it also kept the 4% interest, and it says that it will be kept for a year, and then it will be reviewed every year. So that has been the position all the while, and every year since that 2007 or 2008, every year without fail, the government has come up and say it will extend the interest rate for that 4% floor for another year. So as it stands now in 2022, what the government has announced at the later part of 2021 is that the 4% will remain for 2022. So then as to whether it will change for 2023, then you wait until end of the 2022 to see what the government announced. So if you were to ask me, and I stress, I'm speaking as a private citizen. I'm not the one that make the decision. But you look at the track record of the government in the past 14, 15, 16 years. What has been its behavior? It has been extending this interest, this 4% every year for them. So if I were to make a bet, right, unless something very fundamental has changed, then I would say most likely the behavior will continue to be the same, and you get another extension, right? But I also add a point that just because should the eventuality happen and the 4% guarantee is removed, right? If that happens, it doesn't necessarily mean that the special account will be paying less than 4%. It means you'll be paying based on this 10-year government bond plus 1 percentage point. And it may well be more than 4%. So it's not necessarily a bad thing, you know. It can be less, it can be more. It basically follows the formula, which was the government's point, that it's better to try to mimic something that has some market semblance, rather than something that is rather, in a sense, arbitrary, 1.5% above ordinary account rate. So that was the motivation for the change in the interest rate structure.
Okay, very good. Okay, well, there are a few more these kind of tough questions that has been coming out in common themes. One of the question really is on, let's talk about first on CPF SA shielding. Okay, I've spoken about CPF SA shielding for a few times on our talk. Okay, I think there are questions like, number one, is the CPF SA shielding going to be banned? The second is, why don't the next question is the CPF SA shielding even legal? And the next thing is, if it's so good now, why don't the government just automate the whole thing and rather than us trying to do this shifting of money around in order to enjoy all these high interest? May I give a comment on this? Oh,
there's quite a few questions here. My small brain cannot hold all these questions, so maybe I take it one at a time, and then if I miss out some of the question, you remind me. Maybe take the easiest first one. First, is it even legal, right? And then quite often I hear people talk about it. Is it a loophole? So I don't know if I need to explain what is SA shielding. In essence, SA shielding, some people come up with this term, is simply involve two transaction. One is making a CPF ISSA investment. You invest your money with your special account, right? Funds, and when you invest, that means you are taking some money out of the special account into the whatever investment product that you buy, right? So that's the first step. And then the second step is then you sell that investment, and the investment goes back to where it come from, which is a special account. And of course, this concept being that you sell it after your 55th birthday, right? So that the funds that goes in your retirement account comes from your ordinary account instead of the special account. So in essence, it's two CPF investment scheme transactions. What is legal? What is illegal about it? It is making use of a scheme feature, the investment scheme feature, to achieve this objective of having monies coming from the ordinary account instead of the special account into the retirement account. So while a lot of talk has been generated about this SA shielding in the past, in essence, it's not something new. Some of you all may hear, actually, it's been going on for quite a long time, for many years already. Something which people didn't come up with a term, but I would call it the OA shielding, right? So in the case of the property, if you're buying a HDB flat, HDB has this policy that they will take whatever monies you have in your ordinary account towards the property purchase before they give you a loan. And they are coming from the perspective of trying to be prudent, so that you don't take a bigger than necessary loan. So since you have money in the ordinary account, then you use a money account in the money first before you take the loan, then you get a smaller loan that is more prudent. But some people also came out with this grand idea. They say, no, I prefer to have money in the ordinary account, and I think it's a good idea to take a bigger loan. So in a sense, they don't quite agree with the HDB policy. So what they do is, before HDB could take the money out from the ordinary account, they take their own ordinary account money out and invest under the CPF IS ordinary account scheme. So they have taken the money out, make the investment product. So when the time comes for HDB to take the money, they find that there's no money to take in the ordinary account. So they have to give them a bigger loan than what they would had if they had money in the ordinary account. And after the loan has been settled, then this member will sell the investment, and then the money go back to the ordinary account. So I hope you see is the peril. It's people making use of the CPFIS transaction to achieve certain of their individual perspective. So there's nothing illegal about it lah. But I think some caveats in place need to be in place, of course, because it involves investment, and investment involves investment risk. So this is something that everyone need to bear in mind, that whenever you do an investment, there are investment risks involved. And when you do investment, there are also costs incurred in investing, especially if you are buying and selling at short periods, then there may be more transaction costs. So you have to weigh your decision whether it makes sense for you to be doing this kind of investments.
Okay, so on this note, recently my brother went to do he hit 55. Just before he hit 55, he actually put money out from SA into the bond fund. Now, it also langgar with a period where the bond market went highly volatile, right? So in that short span of, I think, 2 weeks or so, he did incur a loss of $500, okay? So it's not without risk, but however, you can argue that in 1 year of interest, you more than make it back, okay? So I think that then goes to the next question on SA shielding, is that if it's so good now, conceptually, why don't the government even just allow this kind of arrangement instead of giving people the option to take money out from the OA first instead of the SA, you see? So may you care to comment on that?
Okay, so a few points here. So that means the question is, why don't the government take the money from the ordinary account and put it into the retirement account instead of taking it first from the special account to put in the retirement account? So on a very practical basis, there are actually many people who are still servicing their housing loan, even when they are 55 and older, right? So if the monies from the ordinary account were taken out first, it may end up in a situation where there's no money left in the ordinary account for these members, and then when the mortgage payment is due, then they have to cough out cash instead. So it will inconvenience some members, probably, and quite a lot of the members. So people who are doing the SA shielding, I think it's quite logical to conclude that they don't need the ordinary account monies for mortgage payments, but there are others who need it. So in deciding which is the default account to take from, I think this is a very practical consideration that the government has to take into account. You imagine it's taken out from somebody's ordinary account, then he has no money. He has been happily paying from the ordinary account every month, and suddenly, just because he's 55, his bank called him and said, "Sorry, you have to cough out cash." And then where he find the cash immediately at short notice. So it's not so simple if you look at the whole array of members. Then arguably a more important point is that in the current system, we have this situation where you have monies. I'm talking of somebody who is 55 and above, right? And you have monies in the ordinary account, you have monies in the special account. Both the ordinary and special accounts can be withdrawn at will. It's almost like your personal ATM. Anytime you want, you can get the money out. Yet, the two pots of money in the ordinary account and special account, is paying different interest rates. The special account higher, at least 4%. Ordinary account lower, at 2.5% and above. So if you were to a bank, right, ask you, if you were a bank, why would you do things like that? Same withdrawal condition, but one is paying higher than the others. Actually, I would say there is no logical reason why the government is so generous in paying a higher interest rate for special account above the age of 55, when the money can be withdrawn anytime. So it is a concession of the government for whatever their own consideration to do it this way. Then arguably, then if you see from that point of view, it is actually just a minor irritation or whatever, to say that at the point when you want to withdraw, you withdraw from the special account first before you withdraw from the ordinary account. And by that logic, when we're talking about setting up the retirement account, you take from the special account first before you take from the ordinary account.
Okay. Well, last one is this. I don't know whether how can you answer this question. Will the SA shielding be stopped? A lot of people asking. And I haven't reached 55 yet. You are reaching already. I haven't. I still got many more years to go. Yeah, I will lose the opportunity. So will the government stop the SA shielding?
So long as the government don't stop it within the next 2-3 months, I'm okay. No. I can't answer that question. This is a policy question. Any policy question, I can't answer. I'm not in the position to answer.
Okay, cool. Okay. Okay, so that's a good. So right now we have got almost 1,000 people in YouTube, and we got less than half of that in the likes on YouTube, and certainly even lesser than that and subscribe. Can those people on YouTube please hit a like and subscribe so that the video will get promoted more, so that more people can benefit from Mr. Soh's talk. And for those people, just join in. Okay, that includes my brother. Just join in on our Premium More channels, okay, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube, Facebook or Instagram. Please hop over to our YouTube channel that you get to see Mr. Soh Chin Heng in person, okay, and he will be answering a lot more questions. I got 50 questions. I only on question number 5 only. I don't even know how we're going to finish it. I told him there'll be tons of questions. I just didn't know there'll be so much. Okay, so hop over YouTube. Just type 1865YT+1, or just jump over to 1865 channel on YouTube. Okay, so let me go to the next question. Okay, a lot of people cowpay about this point. Called the accrued interest. Okay. A lot of you all, when you buy a house and sell a house, you suddenly realize you buy a house, let's say you buy a house at $500,000. When you sell it at maybe $1 million. Wow, you make $500,000 of profit, right? You want to take out. Then the CPF officer say, sorry, Mr. Tan and Mrs. Tan, nobody's so happy. You have to pay back what you owe to CPF. Your interest, if you haven't taken money out, this interest will have grown by so much. So instead of getting $500,000 in cash, you only get 250. This is called accrued interest. A lot of people cow about it, right? Okay. So there are quite a few questions on accrued interest. So one of the questions is, why do we even have the need for accrued interest? But how come that when you buy money using when you use our CPF to buy stocks, the profit don't have accrued interest, right? How come on house there's accrued interest? And the second, so the question such as this, so number one is, why even have accrued interest? What's the logic of accrued interest? And most importantly, why the other one have and this one don't have? Okay, so maybe Chin Heng, you can care to enlighten us on this. Yes.
Okay, I will start by taking fault at the one statement that you made. It is not that you pay the CPF the accrued interest. It's pay yourself. You pay yourself in your own CPF account the accrued interest.
Yeah.
Yes. So why we have this concept? Why CPF has this concept of accrued interest? You have to start from the original basis for the CPF way back in the 50s when it was started. It's a simple retirement scheme, so it's for retirement. So at that time, CPF cannot be used for housing. CPF cannot be used for medical, hospitalization, and all that. So when the idea of allowing the CPF to be used for housing comes about, then the government added a new objective to the CPF, and then later on it added yet another objective on the medical side. So of course then that complicates the thing, and because it's still ultimately intended to be used for retirement. The thinking is then that when you use it for housing, you take out money, right? And because you took out the money, you don't earn interest on that money because it's been taken out and used for housing. So when you sell the property, then you restore it to its original position, what it would have been, right? Had the money not withdrawn. So that's the concept of accrued interest. So that in a sense is a neutral from the CPF perspective. It's neutral whether you have taken out the money for housing or not, right? But having said that, the like you say, a lot of people cow boo about this accrued interest, but it doesn't really affect a member if he doesn't sell his property. It's just a number there to keep track of this amount, but you don't have to worry about it. Of course, if you should sell the property, then there's some money goes back into the CPF, the principal plus accrued interest, but it's still your money, and you can still use the money that's returned back to CPF for your next property or for investment or other a lot of purposes.
Yeah. Okay. I think let's jump to the next question. I queue not. I don't even think we talk until tomorrow morning. We can finish all the questions. So pardon me if we don't catch some of the question. Thank goodness. Low class Mr. Lu can answer. Okay. So we don't need to. I'm reserving the very xiong question for Mr. Soh. Okay. Some of the ones are easier. I can answer and we'll answer it another day. Okay. But we already have him for 2 hours or so. I can squeeze him dry a little bit by making talk about 2.5 or 3 hours, but he has to sleep. Okay, so I'll give you the xiong question first. The easier one I'll handle another day. There are at least 56 to 100 questions right now. So let's talk about the very tough. Let's talk about a very cheap and tough thing called CPF Life. Okay, CPF Life, as the word described, doesn't. The word sounds very light, but it's not easy. There are maybe about 10 questions revolving around CPF Life. Okay. So maybe Chin Heng, you can first describe what is CPF Life, because I bet you half the people here don't know, and the best scheme out of the 3 or 4 that are available right now, because everybody which scheme should I choose? Then the tougher question come along. So this is introduction 101 for poor people like us who has always struggled with CPF Life. As a point of interest, poor Mr. Soh has been asked by me on this question maybe 3 times already. Okay, on what on earth is CPF Life? Okay, so this is maybe the 4th or 5th time I'm asking you this question. All right, cool. Over to you.
Okay, so let me try So I probably say 2 most important things you need to know about CPF Life. Okay, I will try to elaborate later, but if you can't remember the elaboration, then don't worry. Just remember these two points, right? The first point is that the CPF Life will give you income for life. Income for life means you get the income, you get the money every month for as long as you're alive. So if you live up to 90 years old, you will get the monthly income up to 90 years old. If you live up to 99 years old, you get the money up to 99 years old. Of course, if you live up to say 72 years old, then you get the money until 72 years old. Okay, so it's income for life. So that's the very important point. And why is that important? Is because then you don't have to worry about running out of money when you are old, because you get income for life. One of the greatest fear of everyone will be when you are old and then you don't have money, right? And when you're old, you probably are unable to work anymore. So where is the money coming from? So CPF Life with the income for life feature will then give people a peace of mind, knowing that every month from CPF you get something. You get your retirement payout. Okay, so that's the first and the most important point. The second point, which is also important, is that CPF Life is a capital guaranteed, meaning whatever you have used for CPF Life, you will always get it back. You will get it back either through the monthly payout, right, for as long as you live, or if at the point of at the point of death, you have not fully gotten back whatever you have used to join CPF Life, then the remaining amount will be given to your beneficiaries. So whatever you have received from the retirement payout plus whatever your beneficiary gets will be at least the same or more than what you have put in. And what you put in is whatever is in your retirement account when you join CPF Life from the age of 65 to 70. So these are the two most important points, that you get income for life and the CPF Life monies are capital guaranteed. So maybe I step back now to elaborate a bit further, and those who are really confused, switch off for, I don't know, for 5 minutes or so, just try to remember that 2 points. So what is a CPF Life? I think the best way I can describe it is that the CPF Life is like an annuity. Because when I say that, then people ask, what is an annuity? An annuity, An annuity is a reverse life insurance. I think most people probably can understand the life insurance better. You buy a life insurance to protect your beneficiaries, right? In case you die prematurely, your beneficiary get a sum of money. So a life insurance pays out money when death happens. And I'm talking about a simple life insurance called term life insurance. In the insurance market, there's a lot of insurance products out there also, but the simplest is called a term life insurance. You get the beneficiary get money if you die. Your beneficiary don't get money when you're alive. Okay, boil down to the simplest feature. This is a life insurance. So an annuity is a reverse of a life insurance, meaning it operates in the same way as a life insurance, except in the opposite direction. You get money when you're alive. You don't get money, your beneficiary, the money stops when death happens. So it operates like on the same insurance actuarial principles, but the other way around. So CPF Life is just like an annuity, but of course it is administered by the government. So there are certain advantages of economies of scale. You enjoy the same, the money is going to the same that bond fund. You used to buy the special government bond, then you can get those interest rates which commercial insurance company will not have access to at the current rate, from 4 to 6%. Okay, you think I can go on and the people are still following?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I think I saw some of the question. There's one question about the interest pooling, right? What is the interest pooling? Interest pooling is the converse of what I said earlier about capital guarantee. Okay, so pooling is an insurance term, right? So you should not be surprised that we're talking about insurance term now, because I said CPF Life is an insurance product, it's an annuity, it's a reverse life insurance. So pooling essentially means sharing. When you buy an insurance product, let's say, I think quite a lot of people will be familiar with endowment products. If you buy an insurance endowment product, what happens is that your money is pooled, you pay a certain amount of premium, then this money is shared with all other policyholders' premiums. Is shared, right? It no longer belongs to you. Before you buy the insurance, the endowment product, you have a certain money in your bank account. That's yours. But once you hand over to the insurance company, it's no longer yours. It's pooled, right? Then in exchange for this, the insurance company promise you, if certain things happen, so this is called a claim, right? Then these are your benefit. If this thing happen, you hold the endowment for a certain number of years, or some death or whatever happened, then you get certain amount of money back. So pooling is a very common thing that happen in the insurance product. And so in CPF Life, pooling happens also, except that not everything is a pool in CPF Life. So it's only a partial pooling. It's only the interest that is pooled. The capital, the money that you use to join CPF Life is not pooled. Because I remember I told you it's capital guaranteed. So it's guaranteed, it's a reserve for you. It will always go back to you or your beneficiary. It's only the interest that could have been earned on the capital is pooled and shared among the policyholders. And why is it so important to pool it? Is then linked back to the first point, so that you can have interest income for life. Even when you have run out of your own monies, the monies that you have used to join CPF Life, your payment continues. Where do the money come from? It comes from the interest that is pooled, that is shared. And so it's given to those to make the retirement payouts for those who have already used up their own capital.
So linking to that question, okay, maybe I just go back a bit, go start a bit. So in my human layman thinking, so whatever money I put inside my retirement account, okay, whether is it 100,000, 200,000 or 290 something thousand, and then so I put in, let's say at 55, okay, it will compound all the way until 65 or to 70 years old. That's the point. Up till now, all this money long zong is mine, right? No pooling, This one, no pooling, So whatever I accumulate, that's called capital. Am I correct, Mr. Soh?
Yeah, correct. So at 55, you have a certain amount in your retirement account that the money earned the interest currently is between 4 to 6% per annum. So those are the interest is credited into your account, the retirement account. So it's yours, and then the retirement account balance will increase over the next 10-15 years. So you get to join CPF Life between 65 to 70. So at the point when you join CPF Life, right? So whatever you use to join CPF Life, that's called your capital. Yeah, so you're correct. Yeah, you're understanding, Mr. Lu.
Well, after 3 or 4 lessons, if I still don't understand now, I'm come. But Mr. Soh, very good teacher, right? Yeah, y'all can give a like, not right? Don't everybody give a like. Don't be so meow with a like, okay? So up to 65, 70 years old, then you in theory still have interest, right? But the interest then is not attributable to you, but it's a pool already, right? So the only way you can benefit more is you live long life. If you sway, you short life because you don't live happily, don't live healthily, you smoke, whatever, you short life, then you benefit other people to some extent, right? Your interest. So if you want to game the system, wrong word use. If you want to benefit more, okay, so live a longer life than other people, something like that.
You are absolutely correct, Lu. So CPF Life gives income for life, right? So that's the most important thing. You talk about we can talk about the 3 plans afterwards, but the most important point to know is that you will benefit the most from CPF Life if you live the longest. Simply from the fact that as long as you're alive, you get payment, right? You live until 120 years old, you get the payment until 120 years old. So it's very easy to see. Whereas if you live shorter lives, shorter than the average, then you benefit comparatively less. So very important point. Yes, you're right.
Okay, cool. Maybe you give a quick touch on the 3 schemes or 4 schemes, now 3 schemes, or the 3 schemes, and say that under what circumstances, which is better for who. Then there's about 5 more questions on CPF Life. Those people who just join in, we still have more people joining right now. Those who join in on Facebook, on Premium More channels, we are going live on YouTube where you get the best experience. Yes, you can stay there. You can ask a question there, but my admin won't be able to catch your question. So it's better for you to ask a question on YouTube. We can ask questions, and I'll try to pull those questions together, okay? For those people who didn't know, Mr. Soh Chin Heng is our special speaker today. He was the ex-deputy CPF board deputy CEO, and he was my mentor. And still my mentor, by the way. He was my mentor for the last 20 years. Okay, so technically, he's my sifu. And please join us on YouTube, and we go there. Please hit subscribe and like as well. So back to you, Chin Heng. Out of that 3 schemes, can you please tell me which one is better? The YouTube channel is 1M65. Thank you. Sorry.
I must warn that this is now getting a bit technical, so some of you all may get lost. So if so, then feel free to switch off. So there are 3 CPF Life plans: standard plan, escalating plan, and the basic plan. So which one is better? Of course, it's a very subjective thing, but bear in mind that overarching point that we just talked about, right? Those who gain relatively more from CPF Life are those who live the longest. So that's the common thread across all these 3 plans. So if you start with the standard plan, which is a default plan, means if you don't give a explicit instruction to CPF board by the time you are 70, you will automatically be put on the standard plan, and then you get this payout. So the standard plan is what you call a level plan. Means from the time you start and assuming there's no more inflows into the retirement account, the amount that you get every month in your retirement payout is more or less the same. Okay, so it's a level thing, right? So that's the standard plan. In contrast to the standard plan, then there's this plan called the escalating plan, which unlike the standard plan, is not a level payout. It's a escalating payout. It increases every year by 2%. So the 2% increase is to adjust for inflation. People say things are more expensive next year compared to this year. Very common occurrence, right? So because things are more expensive, I need more money. So then the escalating plan would then allow for that, whereas the standard plan doesn't cater for that, right? But all things being equal, meaning if you start with the same amount of money, right, whether you join the standard plan or the escalating plan, you have to expect that at the beginning, what you get from the standard plan or what you get from the escalating plan will be lower than what you can get from the standard plan. But over time, then it will catch up. The escalating plan will catch up, and then will go more than the standard plan. So you comparing these two, which is better, right? The escalating plan is better if you live longer, because each year that you live longer, then your payout gets 2% more. Okay, so of course then the converse is also true lah. The standard plan is better than escalating plan if you live a shorter life, because the starting payout for the escalating plan is lower than the standard plan. Okay, so I've covered the standard plan and the escalating plan, and for both of these two plans, you use everything you have in the retirement account to join the CPF Life. Now come this the third plan, the basic plan, which is a bit more complicated. The basic plan is similar to the standard plan in the sense that it is a level plan. So the payout is the same every year, more or less the same every month, right? Like the standard plan. And then comparing the standard plan and the basic plan, the retirement payout for the basic plan is lower than the standard plan. But on the other hand, the bequest that you leave behind to your beneficiary is more. You are getting less for yourself, so then chances are you will leave behind more for your beneficiary. Okay, so these are the feature. Then the complication come about with this basic plan. It is best described as a two-in-one product. You don't use everything in your retirement account to join CPF Life if you choose the basic plan. You typically will only use about 20% of the retirement account monies. And so think of it like there's actually when you join CPF Life and you choose a basic plan, you are buying two products in one. You're buying a term annuity, right? A term annuity until the age of 90. And you're using the monies in your retirement account, the 80%, to fund this portion. And then the second product is to buy a deferred annuity, which starts from 90 years old. And this is funded from the 20% that is taken out and pooled. So the two combined will give you a smoother payout, from a relatively smooth payout from the time you start until death lah. You get income for life still, except that it comes from two buckets. So it's a bit more complicated to envisage. Have I lost anyone?
So actually, in simple words, from what I understand from you, just live them long, right?
Yeah.
Just live long. Yeah, just live long. Okay, just long. Not say, just live long. Okay, and then you'll beat the system, right? So I think that's what I get. A lot of the things that Mr. Soh say, for this is my fourth time listening to this already, is a little bit chim. Okay, but yes, I got people say I'm lost there. Okay, but in a nutshell, I can assure you you're not the only one. 这不是他的错，也不是你的错啊。This thing is damn cheap. Basically, of all the scheme, okay, the first thing you need to know is live long, okay? But if you think that you're going to live short for whatever reason, then you pick the scheme that you pick the scheme that enable you to take more earlier. But if you think that you're going to live longer, then you take what we call an escalating plan, right? Okay, something like that. Okay, and if you don't know, take standard plan. Right, Mr. Soh didn't say this, but it's kind of like revolving around this theme. Okay, cool. Okay, good. Okay. I just want to say those people who just came in from you on Facebook, it will be going on this. Please go to 1965YT plus 1. Admin, can you pin up 1965YT plus 1, please? Yes, 1965YT plus 1. A lot of people putting in unusual codes I've never seen. Okay. Yes. Okay. So let's go to another one or two related question on CPF Life. Okay. There's a very interesting question that if I join the CPF Life, okay, and then sway at 66 years old, I die. Okay. Well, but the money in my CPF Life go to my children. Okay. Or I lose all the money go to government or go to someone else. Like, a lot of misconception there. I know the answer already, but it's best for you to answer.
Yeah, so answer is yes. You go to your children if your children are your beneficiary. So use a specific example. So let's say you join CPF Life with $100,000 at 65, right? And then death happens at 66 a year later. And in that 1 year, you get retirement payouts. So just for simplicity, just say it's $1,000 a month. So you get 12 payouts. So that's $12,000. So you have already received $12,000, but you have joined with $100,000. So there's a balance of $88,000. So this $88,000, right, will go to your beneficiary. And if your children are your beneficiary, they will receive this $88,000. So you find that you add up the 12,000 and 88,000, you get the 100,000. So that's what I meant by saying the CPF Life is a capital guarantee.
Okay, cool. A few quick questions. Now I'm going to go a bit faster because of too many questions. Okay. Once I join the CPF Life, okay, I cannot change a plan. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And the reason is because it will affect the risk pooling, right? So to be fair to all the participants in the scheme, right? Make a considered decision, and once you join, then you stick to your plan.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for those people who just came in, never pay attention to Mr. Soh what he talk about, and you choose the wrong plan, okay, then you had it. Okay, so make sure you re-listen to what he say. Then you choose the right plan when you are 50. When do you need to choose? 65 years old, right? Or 50?
65 to 70 years old. So actually, even when you are 65 years old, you still have 5 years to choose. You don't have to start exactly at 65. So you have a lot of time, right? So even those before 65, you can start thinking about it. So there's plenty of time to choose. And although I say in general, you can't choose plan, but there's a free look period. From the time the point you choose, then you have a free look period of I think 30 days where you can change your mind. So it's a standard insurance practice to have this free look period.
Okay, so the best way to do is to re-watch this thing and listen to what Mr. Soh say and get educated. So now that we recorded it, I will watch it again and again until I reach 65 years old. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah, I check on you.
I got exam, bro. Every time I go for walk with him, I get exam. Yeah. So will the stress? Okay, walao si kong wow, tough and okay. Once we select the plan, will the payout change month to month?
If it's the standard plan or the basic plan, it will generally not change. It will be more or less the same. If it's an escalating plan, then every year you will increase by 2%. When I say that, I'm assuming that there's no fresh inflows into the retirement account, right? But it's possible to have a fresh inflows in the retirement account. Why so? Some people will want to voluntarily put more money in the retirement account. And when you do so, then you have new monies in the retirement account. So these new monies will then increase your CPF Life payouts. It is think of it like buying a supplementary CPF Life, because now you got small new monies. You buy another CPF Life plan on top of the existing CPF Life plan, so you will increase your retirement payout, right? And some people, they may sell their property when they are in the 60s or 70s, and for some situation, some monies will come into the retirement account. Then again, that will be used to then increase your CPF Life payouts.
Okay, very good. So so now that this very rich information is now stored in YouTube, there's a lot of people say I will rewatch until 65 years old. So I say again, you better click subscribe, because you lose this channel. Those people on Facebook, don't forget, this Facebook is my wife handbag channel. I'm not keep this video there, so you better go to YouTube and hit subscribe there. Okay, cool. Yes. There's one funny question I ask now. Then you may choose not to answer. Okay. Is that how did Mr. Soh you keep such a healthy crop of hair, a black crop of hair? Okay. You can pass. For me, it's like, okay. Anyway, all right, good. Okay, now I want to move out of CPF Life. There's a lot more questions on CPF Life. Some of this question, I will try to answer it. Okay, I'll talk about two things. Number one is that there are some people ask life insurance question. Okay, you know what? Tomorrow I have also a very big guest star. Okay, and she is the CEO of Money Hour. Okay, and they are the best people that can advise you what to do on your life insurance. You have a very, very tough question on life insurance. Like I cannot sanko right now in the ILP plan. I cannot sanko now in the whole life insurance. What should I do? Tomorrow we will go live with the CEO Chun Ting from Money Hour. Right, she's an expert and she'll be able to answer some of these questions. So tomorrow, join us at 8 o'clock. Okay. Tomorrow we will go. Tomorrow we won't have this complicated thing. It will go live on Premium More channels as well. Okay. So back to Mr. Soh. Okay. This is a very, very, very frustrating question by many people. The government goalposts keep changing. That's a comment. Very real, not. Goalposts keep changing. No. Walao, think got 55, so I can take out all my money already. Now got what CPF Life, got what FRS, confused. Anyway, a lot of copy. The government goalposts change, but the $1 million question is this, Mr. Soh, or Mr. CPF or CPF board. Will the CPF withdrawal age be increased from 60? It will be CPF withdrawal age be increased. And there's a few numbers here. Some people say from 65 to 67 years old. Some people say from 62 to 65. Clearly, this concept of CPF withdrawal age also complicated. So essentially, will the goalposts keep changing? Okay, or the CPF withdrawal age be increased? We will care to enlighten us on this very tough question.
Very tough question for me to answer also. It's a policy question, so I cannot say what the government will do. But break up the questions into different parts. So there's this 55. 55 has always been an important age in the CPF scheme. So it has been there. It has been there since day one. What has changed is what is the key change that took place was in the year 1987, right? Before 1987. Whatever you have in your CPF, you can withdraw once you reach 55. And come 1987, then the rule changed a bit. You have to set basically you have to set aside in those days it's called the minimum sum. Today you'll be called the full retirement sum, FRS. So you set aside that, and then thereafter, then the amounts above that you can withdraw from 55. So in a sense, the 55 milestone is still there, except that amounts have changed somewhat. Then the other set of ages refers to when the payouts starts. And there have been a series of changes since in the 90s onwards. So some policy thinking has also changed. In the past, it was tied to the retirement age, and then as the retirement age increased, then the start of the retirement payout also changed. So more recently, that the retirement age payout start age has also been delinked from the retirement age. the retirement age continue to increase. The government has announced that it will progressively increase, and then now we also have this concept of a re-employment age. And then, so in a sense, there are now two ages, and over the next few years, I think it's moving towards 65 to 70 kind of thing. But then where the CPF withdrawal is concerned, the start of the payouts is still it's been dealing from it, so it's not changed, even as the retirement age changes.
Okay, at this juncture, I want to ask everybody, CPF Life cheap or not? If you all say cheap, type cheap. If you all say, I understand, I'll see how many people say. So CPF Life is very cheap, not okay. So I get some feedback. CPF Life cheap, not. CPF Life cheap or not cheap will matter your life. After 65 years old, in fact, at 55 years old, by 55 years old, you better understand CPF Life already. Yeah, see. Okay, I got people, I understand. Hey, actually, 50-50, yeah, 50-50. I'm just looking at life is very cheap. cheap. Okay, maybe now 70-30. Okay, so I'm looking at the numbers that are coming in right now. It's very cheap. So
remember the 2 points. Income for life, capital guaranteed. And then on the practical note, once you are closer to 65, CPF board will send you a letter to invite you to come down for a session where they explain the CPF Life plans to you. So you don't really need to know all the fine details until you're ready to choose your plan.
Okay. So I think it's about cheap and loss. I understand. So I think roughly looking at number 50-50, a lot of the old people say, old people how to catch ball. Yeah, and okay, so he said I can understand, but not for 1950 generation parents. Okay, so actually on this one, maybe you can. Okay, first of all, of course, Mr. Soh has kindly explained everything already. So please watch this again. Okay, so that you all can understand. But is there a way that CPF can do? Although now I know you are retired, CPF can do to help people understand this kind of concept even more. Yeah, is that's one of the questions, by the way. Yeah, how to understand CPF life better or easier.
So actually, in addition to having this session at the CPF board, so I believe now even on the website, when you're near to joining CPF Life, you can go in and you'll be guided through with a few questions and help you understand what is of important to you, and then how you should choose a life plan accordingly.
Okay. Everybody, so you understand. I'm just looking at some. There's one lady who say here, listen until I sotong navigating CPF Life going to a minefield. Actually, that's very funny. Okay, can't CPF Life be more simplified? Okay, maybe actually that's a good question, and I've asked even 2 ministers before, but I want to hear your perspective as well. Why is CPF so cheap, so complicated? Maybe you care to explain a little bit on this one.
I think an important consideration is the issue of a choice, right? So I think. Is it fair to say the two key points I mentioned, you all can understand that you get income for life and it's a capital guaranteed, right? Can understand, right? The complication come when you come to plan number 1, plan number 2, plan number 3, and each plan its own features. So this is the issue of a choice. When there are choices to be made and people have to decide on the choice, then people have to crack their head to understand the different features of the choices and then compare them, and what is best for them. So this is where a lot of the complication comes in. So the simplest way to reduce the complication is to give people less choice Instead of 3 plans, you have 2 plans. Instead of 2 plans, you have one plan. Then don't need to choose already. But of course, when that happens, people also complain. I want choice, everyone choice. I want to choose, your this one plan doesn't suit me, So when coming out of the CPF Life scheme, government has to weigh between this simplicity and choice, and how to strike the balance. And this is another thing that's changed over time. Even in CPF Life, it's been around maybe about 12 years or so. When you started off, the direction was to give people plenty of choices. I think there were 12 choices, and then people complain, too many. Then the government cut down to 4. Then I think go to 3, and then at that point people say too few, not enough. Don't give me enough choices. Then now it's 3. So it's that conundrum the government faces to strike that balance between simplicity and the choice.
Okay, so okay, so I think it's very important for us to know that in the what Mr. Soh says, in the attempt to give everybody some choice, things unfortunately have to be complicated, and we not to forget there is different generation of people, right? And then the improvement to the scheme, right? So I was once with senior, that time was Deputy Prime Minister Taman. I actually asked him this question as well, and he was kindly enough to explain to me, that the different evolution of it, cause different generation have different scheme whatsoever. Of course, it's not so easy, right? So so people like me, if you ask me the old scheme of CPF Life, what's it called again? I can't remember. The old scheme of CPF Life.
Retirement sum scheme.
Wow, that one I lagi buihao, the one. So as you can see, is a bit complicated. Okay, but today I think we got a good grasp of what the basics are. Okay, rewatch this video again, and you will see, you will get more light from Mr. Soh. I want to move on, to a similar one. But quite a few people ask, which one is better, enhanced retirement sum or full retirement sum? Okay, but for general people's sake, maybe you can just give a light explanation what's FRS and ERS first. Okay, so over to you.
So the enhanced retirement sum scheme is 50% more than the full retirement sum. For people who turn 55 this year, the full retirement sum I think is 192,000. So you put 50% more, then there's an enhanced retirement sum. So actually, you shouldn't be asking which one is better. Of course, more money better, ma. If you have more money, you go for the enhanced retirement sum better, right? So it's not fair to ask, have less money better or more money better. It's what suits you. If by default the scheme, the CPF system will try to put people onto the full retirement sum if there is enough money, right? Then the enhanced retirement sum is a extra amount, a voluntary amount that people can put up if they want to, if they have more money. So the more relevant question is to start off with saying that if I have money, if I have 50% more than the FRS, should I top it up to the ERS? Then the question is, what is the alternative? If I don't top up to the ERS, what should I do with this 50% more of my monies? So if you can find better use for this 50%, you can buy something similar to CPF Life, but it pays better. Then of course, then you will say, I would just have the FRS in the CPF, and then this 50%, I go and buy, let's say, a insurance annuity product. But if you cannot find something better, then you should consider putting it into the CPF up the ERS. And generally, I think it's fair to say that in terms of the returns, CPF, the commercial insurance products out there cannot beat the CPF Life at this juncture lah. And it's because of the interest that the government is paying on these special government bonds that the insurance companies don't have access to, and the bond rates are not comparable to what the government is paying for the CPF bonds.
Very good. Okay, so so for people, that's a very good segue out of CPF Life, because if there's still a lot more questions on CPF Life, but if I go on CPF Life, we won't be able to stop. Okay, CPF Life itself is very cheap. What I'll do is that the more simpler one, I will take those questions in another session, okay? But let's quickly treasure the time with Mr. Soh and Jusim Dry. Jusim Dry, the more tough question, okay? This is a very, very tough question. Why can't the CPF trust people? Why 55 years old, you don't allow everybody to take out? Yeah, they must, potong some money out in CPF Life, and you can only take out this money and things like that. Why not 55 years old? Let us trust us all to handle our own money. It's our money. Why government keep all our money? Yeah. Then that's why long time ago, maybe not now. Long time ago, people go to Hong Lim Bank, say return my CPF, return my CPF. So why can't the government just trust the people at 55 years old, just give them all their money, right? Okay, so maybe you can enlighten us on this. What's the thinking behind?
I would say if you go on this thinking, then you ask why even have the CPF in the first place? Why don't you don't do away with the CPF totally? Don't even make to contribute. Must we be 55 years old before we can be mature enough to manage our money? I mean, 45 years old not mature enough, man. 35 not there, 25 not enough, right? So that kind of thinking will lead to this conclusion that actually you don't even need a CPF at all. And the fact of the matter is that in every country, you find that there is some sort of a retirement scheme in place. May not be the same as CPF Life, may not be the same as CPF, but you always have. So every government has found it necessary to have some provision for a retirement system to take care of people when they're older, when they are not working. So of course, some people will be sensible, mature enough to take care of their own retirement, even if there's no forced savings. But unfortunately, some will not. So every government has found it necessary to have such a system. And if there is no such a system, eventually the government will also have to fall back on the government to make the provision. Then on the other hand, of course, there's some advantages of having a national system where it cater to everybody. There's economies of scale. You'll be cheaper than if individuals save up for their own kind of plans. So really, the question is why start with this system of you are forced to contribute up to 55. Then after 55, you're on your own. So that one we had to ask our British government, who took over, who gave us a CPF in 1955. Somehow, in those wisdom of the day, that was the way it was worked out. But you think about it, the fundamental objective of CPF is for retirement, meaning you need the money in your retirement years. That's the way it's most needed. So why do you force people to save for 20, 30, 40 years, and then after that, you give them the full responsibility for their money, and then you run the risk that some may not responsibly shepherd this pool of money, and then you have a problem. Why you're setting up the system for failure? So if you argue that there is a need for the system, then you should follow through and make sure that there is at least something for them in their retirement, and preferably something for life. So which is where CPF is moving to, which is where a lot of a lot of countries are moving to. So in the 50s, you had this predominance of the system that the British leave behind in Singapore and other places. But you find that the countries all over the world is moving towards retirement streams of money, and also towards annuity. So Singapore is no different in this aspect, and especially for Singapore with an aging population, more and more people are getting older. So this issue is becoming more and more pressing if more and more people run out of money without retirement funds.
Yep, good. Okay, there's some hygiene question here that are asked very fast, and then you answer very fast. How about that? Okay. Yeah. So let's. These are hygiene questions. May I know what's the interest rate that CPF Life is paying?
Same as the special account and the MediSave account, 4 to 6% currently.
Okay, very good. Okay, can we opt out CPF Life?
In general, no, except that if you have some very severe medical condition, then you can. There's a scheme for you to, in a sense, opt out of CPF Life. and there's some alternative arrangement. But those will be for a very small number of people.
I see. Supposing there's one elder only got 60,000 and 65, so still got CPF Life?
Yeah, so you join CPF Life if you have at least $60,000 in your retirement account at 65. So if you don't have that, then you're under the old scheme, the retirement sum scheme, which essentially is like a bank account. You get amount of money every month until the bank account goes dry lah. So there is no assurance of income for life in that case.
Okay. Wait, I lost my question. Okay. Is it better to choose a 65 years old payout or 70-year-old payout for CPF Life?
It depends on your situation. If you have no, say, employment income at 65, or you have no cash savings, then you probably should consider starting at 65. If, on the other hand, you're still working, or you have some monies in your bank account, then you let the money compound, and it's compounding at a higher interest rate than the money in your bank, then maybe it's a good thing to start at 70. Or you can start somewhere in between.
Okay. From the age of 55 to 65, can we still top up the retirement account?
Yeah, you can. You can top up the retirement account anytime from 55. And I will add, even after you have joined the CPF Life, you can still top up the retirement account. So the top up monies then will be used to top up your CPF Life payouts also. So you get higher retirement payout monies.
Okay. This is a very unique question, but I think it's good to ask this question because some of us might kena this question. Quite a lot of us might kena this question. In the event when a person on CPF Life is diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, has only a few months left to live, okay? Will the CPF Life return all the remaining principal to this person?
So those will be the kind of exemption that talk about under severe medical condition. So if you have this sort of condition, then you may be exempted from a CPF Life. But once you join the CPF Life, then you are in the scheme lah. There is no opting out.
Okay, CPF Life. If someone don't choose it, is there like an auto scheme for? If someone don't choose, by the time you hit 70, if nobody make a choice, if the person don't make a choice, it's like a default scheme that CPF will put you under.
Yeah, it's called the standard plan.
Okay, all right, cool. For this one can take a bit more longer answer, because given that we now have a longer longevity, okay, more Singaporeans now living way above 80 years old. Will the CPF Life be sustainable? The government have to pay more and more, So it's somewhat similar to if everybody moved to 1165, where CPF able to pay us, right? So anyway, so if the whole nation having such long longevity, then will the CPF Life be sustainable in the long run?
Answer is yes, it will be sustainable. And that's because the CPF Life, there's this automatic adjustment in terms of its CPF Life payout. CPF Life payout is not fixed, as in it's not guaranteed that you will remain the same every month. It'll be very stable. It's designed to be very stable, more or less the same, but it's not guaranteed. And so it will change. It will change, meaning it can increase or it can decrease. So what the relevant question is, what can cause the increase or the decrease in the CPF Life payouts? And there are two factors. One is the interest rate, right? We say that currently it's paying 4 to 6%, and that is a result of the interest rate policy. This special Singapore government bond, 10-year government bonds plus 1 percentage point with a cap of 4%. And then you have this extra interest for the first 60,000, 1 extra percentage point. Then you have another 1 percentage point for those above 55 for the first 30,000. So all this result in an interest rate of 4 to 6% currently. Now, should this interest rate change? And when it changes, it may be more, it may be less, right? Then the payout will also change. If the interest rate increase, the payout will increase. If the interest rate decrease, the payout will decrease. So that's one factor, the interest rate. The second factor then is the mortality. Mortality means how many people are dying compared to what is predicted or projected. And what is predicted or projected is a actuarial calculation done by the actuaries, right? So the actuary, being expert in this field, will have some view on how on the rate that people are living or dying. Now, if the actual experience turn out to be different, then the rate will adjust. If people are living longer than what the actuaries predict, then the payout will decrease because you got to spread out the money to more people because they are living longer than what the actuaries predicted. Conversely, if people are dying faster than what the actuaries predicted, then actually the payout will increase, right? So there's a balancing mechanism within the CPF Life, that will adjust so that make sure that the scheme is sustainable. You will not go bankrupt.
Okay, cool. Okay. Someone asked a quick question: will the interest compound until the day you die? If I live until 85 years old, will the interest still be compound until then?
Answer is yes, except that once you join CPF Life, it's pooled lah. It's no longer your individual interest, but it's shared among the pool. But the compounding still take place.
And please live long if you want to game the system. Okay, that's the only way you can game the system.
You have learned well, Mr. Lu.
Yes, this one I learned. Yes. Sorry, my question just went away. Wow, so many questions just came in. Someone asked a question just now that I want to ask. Yes, can you explain the concept of a property pledge? Simi property pledge. Why do we have this property pledge thing? And can we, is that what is good and bad about this property pledge? Yeah.
A property pledge is for those who don't like the CPF interest, want to have more cash in their hands. So a property pledge is to cater for people like that, right? Some may like the CPF, want to top up more, but there are some who are like on the other side. So if you have, let's say, start with the FRS at 55. So if you're 55 years old this year, you have 192,000, right? And then this 192,000 will then grow, and when you join CPF Life, you get something like 1,500 or 1,600 or something like that, right? For retirement payouts. However, there's this feature for people to take out up to half of this 192,000 in cash, and that's called a property pledge. So most of us will have used CPF for housing since when you're young, and then if you've done so, and you can then do a property pledge. With this pledge, you can take out half of this 192,000, right? Meaning your retirement account will drop by half to 96, and you have 96,000 more in your cash. Okay, so you can spend whatever you like with this cash. But the condition is that should you sell the property for which is pledged, then you have to put back this 96,000 in the retirement account. But if you don't sell, then you leave with this lower retirement account. You have the cash in your pocket. It means that when you join CPF Life, you will have a lower payout.
Okay, cool. Okay. This interesting question. Is it considered unfair when no interest accrue to CPF Life? What's the rationale?
It's not unfair. It's like any insurance product. It is a pool to ensure that everybody in this scheme has an income for life. If you don't share the money, you cannot guarantee that for everybody. Some will run out of money, some will have extra money at death. So this is a way to ensure that everybody gets income for life.
Can I switch from RSS, which is the old scheme, to CPF Life?
Yeah, you can do so. You can do so until the age of 80. 80 is the last entry age.
Okay, cool.
It's a good question. Encourage you to do so, to consider doing so, because of that feature of income for life, which RSS cannot promise. RSS will pay out the money for as long as there's money in your retirement account. So there is a chance that you may run out of money in your old age. So switching over to CPF Life will then resolve this problem lah.
Okay. Would there be a time when our GIC and Temasek flounder in their investment as a result? CPF got no money to pay us.
I cannot make a comment on that, but the government has a promise to make that payment to CPF board, however well or unwell the GIC makes this its investments. It's a promise that is made by the government as part of the special government bonds payments.
Okay. Actually, I don't know that. Someone asked this question, which is quite interesting. Why two-room flat cannot pledge? Bear in mind that rising transaction costs of flat across time. Are there apartments that HDB apartments that cannot be used for pledging?
I'm not sure exactly where the question comes from. It may not be so tight to the two-room, but it's more like whether there is the lease can last until 95. So that's part of the requirement to ensure that just like you want people to have money for life, HDB also want the person to be able to have a roof over the head for life if possible lah. So it's tied to those conditions. So I think this one is quite a specific question. Maybe better to write into CPF board to get the exact answer to the situation.
Okay, cool. So someone said, I pledged my HDB flat ready. Okay. As part of the CPF Life and 55 years old thingy. Then what happened when I pass away? What happened to my HDB flat? Okay, will the CPF board force sell my HDB flat, or even though my spouse is still alive?
Answer is no. So that's separate from the issue of a pledge. That you're talking about the property, right? So the pledge, if a death happens, basically the pledge lapses. Then the property is not a CPF issue. The property is a property issue. Then it depends on the manner of holding of this property. Most people will hold this property as a joint tenancy. Typically, it's between a couple, husband and wife. The HDB flat or the property is in joint tenancy, and joint tenancy means that if one party pass away, the property then becomes the other joint tenants, the other party's property lah. So it crosses over seamlessly, the ownership, right? The other type of a property manner of holding is a tenancy in common. In this kind of arrangement, each party in the property, you have a specific share in the property. Maybe one owns 30%, one owns 70%. Then when death happens, the ownership don't automatically pass to the other party. It goes under the estate, and then it's distributed according to the estate laws. So this issue is separate from the CPF. But as far as CPF is concerned, once death happens, then everything just lapses lah. You won't be asked to sell the property to put back the money into CPF.
Okay. The old scheme is the RSS scheme, and new scheme is CPF Life. Okay. Why aren't the old scheme be auto converted to CPF Life? Okay. And why must people switch over manually?
Well, when government make the changes, any policy changes, you have to bear in mind any disruption it may make to people lah, right? So there are some differences. The key difference is that CPF Life pays income for life, but you may have other flip side that actually for some people what they get from the RSS may be more than what they may get from the CPF Life, except that they don't get for life. So if you automatically switch them over, then they have a drop in their payouts, then they will not be happy. So I think if there's such a scenarios, the government will have to be very careful whether you want to force people to accept a lower payout than what they've been receiving, although they can get it for life. So I think the government decided that avail the CPF Life scheme for them, but let them make a conscious decision. For some, it may be better. For some, it may not work out. So it's best that they make their own calculated decision.
So really, and this question came up quite a lot of times. RSS and CPF Life. Okay, so which one is better?
There's no better or worse, right? RSS don't guarantee you income for life, which is a very big attraction for CPF Life. On the other hand, RSS is your own money. It is in your own account. So for people who don't like this idea of sharing, this pooling, then they'll say, I prefer RSS. But the interest rate is the same.
Okay. Related to this food, a lot of people, of course, you see the world is very divergent, right? Some people want CPF money to come as soon as possible. Some people want to top up and keep the money in the CPF as much as possible. So some of y'all may say, I want to take the money as soon as possible, but don't forget, there's a big group of people say, don't let us top up as much as possible. So this is really a FRS question. The full retirement sum right now is at 192,000. During my time when I first met you, it was about 100,000 or something like that. It's been increasing close to 8,000 already, right? So that's quite a lot. Which means that by the time people reach 55 years old, they realize that, hey, I got to top up, I got to transfer from my CPF to my RA $192,000, which is I cannot take out much money already, right? So then they realize, hey, this 192,000 haven't stopped yet. It will continue to increase every year. So is it foreseeable that one year the FRS could be so high, like $500,000 or $1 million? This thing keep continuing.
You got to return back to the fundamental question. What is this FRS for? 192,000 or 120,000 or whatever. It is to fund your retirement at a certain rather basic level. So what can affect this amount, right? One key factor is inflation, is a cost of living from cohort to cohort, from one group, one generation to another generation. You stretch back long time enough. Our parents' time, they probably need lesser money than our generation because things are cheaper then, right? So the idea is that you actually can't compare this year's FRS with next year's FRS. It will generally be on the rise because the prices generally grows. So the next year's cohort will need more money for their own retirement compared to this year's money. So that's a common feature of life that prices change, and not only is it an inflation factor, is people's lifestyle may also change. People get more used to more expensive things, a higher standard of living, so they find that a certain amount of money which previous generation may be happy with, this current generation is not contented with. So these are things that will be taken into account when they set the FRS amounts.
Okay, very good. Now I'm going to speak for the other group of people. Okay, this one group of people say, I want to take out money early. The other group of people say, hey, why don't you let me top up more money? Why you put a cap of $192,000? I want to see more money into it. I want more money. I cannot invest. Let's me S&P 500 lah, share lah, STI. I don't know. Be here inside. I put more money into SA 4%. How to beat, right? Why government put a cap 192,000 only? Yeah, I see a lot of people click like already. Yeah, agree, right? So maybe you care to enlighten us a little bit, although I kind of know the answer.
Because it's a government scheme. Had it been a private scheme, then the more money you bring in, the better it is. Asset under management increases. But the government is not in the business of attracting money from anybody, right? The government is trying to have a basic provision from everybody, every citizen, every Singaporean, right, to ensure that there is something for them. So the government actually doesn't really want too much of your money, right? If you are the type that has a lot of spare cash, then you can still enjoy the fruits of this national scheme, but up to a limit lah. Then the rest you manage yourself. So government has to calibrate in the terms of how much benefits you will provide in this retirement space. So and I will just add that actually in a sense that's also one of the reasons why CPF is so complicated, because there's so many limits on these various schemes that actually prevent people from putting in too much money, which you will not find in the private market.
So I better put in money as early as possible. Then you can see more money. You can put it later. You hit the cap already. Yeah. So compound interest. Yeah, I say until my face turned blue already. Yes. So to everybody, right? That's the foundation of our 1965 movement. Tell you invest money as early as possible. Yeah, cool. When is the best time for a person to withdraw money out of CPF?
Wow. I don't know how to answer that question. Never, don't. Well, if you're talking about from 55, right? Is the monies you have in your ordinary account and special account is assuming you have set aside the FRS in the retirement account, it's available for you to withdraw anytime, right? But I would say you shouldn't withdraw if you don't need to lah. It is the best emergency fund in town that can think of. You can withdraw anytime. So it has the emergent feature of a desired emergency fund. At the same time, it's paying at least 2.5% if you're talking about monies in the ordinary account. At least 4% if it's a special account. No emergency fund will give you this kind of interest rate, because to provide you that flexibility of an instantaneous withdrawal, they will put restriction. They will give you very poor interest rate because they have to provide that liquidity. So I look around, I can't find any better emergency fund in Singapore. So I'm going to turn 55 soon in a couple of months. I have no intention of withdrawing. Of course, if there's a need, then and I have no other funds available, then I can consider withdrawing. But other than that, I won't withdraw.
Very good. Okay, cool. There's a question: should we max out our SA first, or our special account first, or max out our Medisave account first? This question is philosophically always come about. What's your opinion on that?
They are more or less the same in the sense that the interest rate on both is the same, but so doesn't quite matter. Personally, I would actually prefer to top up the Medisave first, because in a sense, the Medisave has a slightly better liquidity than the special account. Special account, the liquidity comes in from 55, from the when you come the retirement phase. Well, for the Medisave, you can use it for your hospitalization insurance, the MediShield or the CareShield Life, or you can use it for medical expenses. So it has I think slightly better liquidity compared to the SA lah. Not much more, but and anyway, I don't, even if I have that liquidity, I work on the basis that I don't use Medisave monies. I use cash instead. But from the planning perspective, it's always good to have that flexibility you have. So between the two, I tend to favor the Medisave more than the special account. But in my case, I put in both lah.
Very good. Okay. Well, there's a question that come about, and that's basically my what I do for myself, which is I build a foundation level of CPF funds first, and that's why we call a financial safety net, which I think you're kind of familiar with. I always say about. Now, on top of that, after I've done that, then I layer on the things like S&P 500 and so on, other investments. The question really is this a wise way of doing? Because some of the people are questioning whether I do it in the best way, or are there better way to invest our CPF money? And a related question also is what investment can we use to invest the SA?
Yeah, so I think what you have done, Mr. Lu, commend you, is very wise.
Hey, see, my who say I very wise, so I
give him a light.
Hey, no effect already. Fly, my sifu affirming. Sorry, sir. Okay, let's go. Nobody give me light.
I think you say it very well. Investment is a very emotional thing. It's not just about the investment know-how, knowing how to invest, but it's also whether your heart can take it, whether you can write the emotions of a investing. So it helps very much if before you invest, before you take market risk, you have some this safety net, something you know is there, is very sure, it's not subject to market fluctuation, and that gives you a lot of confidence to then take risk in the market. If you don't have the safety net, you will be very worried when the market takes a downturn and you lose a significant proportion. Then you probably resort to behaviors which is not the prudent from the investment perspective. So I think it is a very wise thing to think in terms of having this basic layer, save first, and then go into more risky investment once you have built that foundation. Well done.
No light, alamak. Some people like, okay, so I feel embarrassed. It is being very nice to feel, heartwarming to feel being affirmed by my sifu, okay. Yes, yeah, so pet, okay. Anyway, okay, so now I cannot praise by my sifu. I don't know how to go on the session.
Oh yeah, I forgot. There's another question about what is the best product to invest your SA. Yes. I will boldly give this recommendation. There's no product. Don't invest your SA. I've spoken to many people in the market. They won't say publicly, but they tell me privately. It's such a good rate, though. SA, risk-free, government guaranteed. Why go and invest this money? You should leave it in the special account, earn that 4 to 6%, or earn the 4 to 5%. Then invest your money with other funds, not the special account.
See, now it's guru saying, not I say. Tell you how many times already. Yeah, don't touch your SA. Very good money there. You can hate the government, hate the CPF, but you must love their money. That's where you get all their money from. Anyway, so okay, so yeah, this is a very interesting policy or philosophical question. Why must withdrawal first come out from SA? When we withdraw money, why must first be from SA? Can we just withdraw first from OA now? Yeah. Why must first be from SA?
I touched on this earlier. Both the SA and OA after 55 is a withdrawable upon demand. Yet one pay higher interest rate than the other. So you must see as a concession that the government is paying higher money interest on one pot of money for with no downside. So you take it in context, then with this concession in mind, then you say it's a fair thing that when you make a withdrawal, you withdraw from the SA first. Let me put it most starkly to you. I would say a logical, a very reasonable position for the government to take, which nobody will be able to say is argue against it, is that after 55, both the special account and ordinary account pay the same interest rate, right? Because they are both withdrawable on demand. No difference. Why should the different interest rate be different? So it is a concession that one is paid actually significantly higher interest rate than the other. So you think of it that way. The trade-off is that when you withdraw, you have to withdraw from the SA first. I want to argue against that.
Okay. For those people who are still hanging on, you can send your last pair of questions. I've cleared most of questions. Those questions I didn't raise because they're too specific to a case, too unique, and you can write into me at luchengchuan@gmail.com. I can answer. I don't waste Mr. Soh's precious time here. You can continue to answer, send your question, especially on YouTube, okay? And you can ask them on Facebook as well. But I want to really, first of all, I want to say that it's very good, right, Mr. Soh? Okay, not like Mr. Lu, Mr. Soh is a next level of a guru already, So please give him a round of applause. It's really good, okay? Yes. All right. Send your last batch of question. We have probably about another 5 more minutes or so. We'll be hanging for two full hours already. So you're getting giving a blast of likes, man, ladies and gentlemen. And those people on YouTube, please give a blast of like and subscribe to the channel as well. Okay. Yes. I will. Yeah. Any last batch of questions? Some are very specific case. Someone asked, I already have my SA up to 192,000. My CPF SA is up to 102,000. My HDB fully paid. I got no debt. Should I retire at 55 to 60 years old?
Congratulations, you are in an enviable position. So you can consider doing that. I cannot tell you what you should do, but I would say seriously consider, even if you retire, what are you going to do with your life? Make good use of your life, whether it's working or otherwise. I suppose I can share from my perspective. So as Lou said, I retired from CPF board last year, and I suppose I'm in that similar situation. I decided that I have enough financially and comfortable to last me the rest of the life. So I asked myself, what do I want to do with my life? I could continue working, but I come around to the view that is not the best use of my time. There's other important things I want to do. So I'm going to pursue this. And for me, this is just a personal sharing. One of the things I took on was to become a student again. So I've now studying a part-time master's degree in counseling, because I think it is a very good skill to have, and I can use that. I can see that being put to use. I can see myself putting good use of that in my years ahead. So I decided to do that. So you have to decide for yourself. Each of us have only have one life. How to make the best use of our life.
Very good. Okay. I'm not so sure we answered this question. I think I asked twice. I asked once. Okay. Why is it that the OA when we withdraw for HDB flat there is accrued interest, but OA when we drop for equity investments there's no accrued interest?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult to compare investments with property. Property, you tend to hold it for a long haul. Most people hold it for a long haul, and over a long run, most people actually make money from it, and the appreciation is higher. Investment actually is quite a different kettle of fish, and people invest very different way. Some invest for long haul, some invest for short term, in and out. And even in the investment, we call it a CPF investment scheme. But actually, there are many products, many different kind of products in it, right? So quite a lot of people use it for insurance-related investment schemes. And then again, it's very different, right? When you sell the ILP or whatever, you may not get back your accrued interest. So the features are quite different. So it's probably not a satisfactory answer, but it's just that it's quite different. If people who have been in the scheme longer or familiar with the scheme, we used to have this something called a profit withdrawal scheme in the CPFIS. If you make enough profit that's more than your accrued interest, you can withdraw the interest. Then the scheme was changed, and so there's no more profit withdrawal. So you can argue either way, whether the investment scheme should follow the CPF, the property, which in a sense in the past it was like that, but then it was changed to now say different. Look at it differently. Investment, if you lose money, then the net amount go back to the account. If you make money, the net amount also go back to the account. But probably simplify things. So that's sort of the thinking around it.
Okay. And actually, that isn't there seems to be some inconsistency between the two?
You can say you can see that way lah. But each scheme will have to look at it on its own merits and its own features. with CPF catering to so many different users, from housing to retirement to healthcare to investment to education, invariably you cannot try to synchronize it until it's entirely consistent. I would say we probably have to accept that as an imperfect system, but as perfectly imperfect as it can be, maybe.
Perfectly imperfect that it can be. Next time you tell your wife that I'm perfectly imperfect, you know. Yeah, so perfectly imperfect. Well, that's a good one, man. Okay, anyway. Would you recommend to pay off accrued interest?
If you want,
the other part is under what circumstances is it wise to pay off accrued interest?
I would see when you say paying off accrued interest, it means you are putting the money back into the ordinary account, what you have used for housing. So I see it as a way of having more money in your CPF to earn the ordinary account interest rate. So if that's what you're looking for, then I think it's a good idea. But if you are worried about this accrued interest that it keeps growing, and you have, on the other hand, you have no intention of selling your property, then I say don't worry. That is just a number. It doesn't affect you at all. So you in that situation, do nothing.
Okay, cool. So what's the best way to pay off a property loan? Use cash or use CPF?
A big factor will be the interest rate that you're paying. What we have been used to, and probably is still the case, is that the market rates has been pretty low for many years now, and it's lower than what the ordinary account pays, at least 2.5%. So under these circumstances, it's better to have money in your ordinary account to be earning at least 2.5%, rather than to use that money to pay your mortgage loan, then you forfeit that 2.5%. So if you have cash, then it's better to use cash. If your cash flow is limited, then consider paying part cash and part CPF until the time when you can fully use the cash to pay your mortgage payment. And then if you still have more cash that time, then make this voluntary housing payment and back to your ordinary account to earn the ordinary account interest.
Okay.
But of course, on the flip side, if the interest rate swing around to become more than 2.5%, then of course the equation changes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I'll end with this last question, which is quite interesting. It came from Moses. I suppose this is Mr. Soh, you retire even before you hit 55. You choose to do the life you want. You choose to pursue certain things that are meaningful to you. You are pursuing a master's in counseling, and behind the scene, I also know that he's many interesting things that he's contributing more to society in his next phase of life and things like that. Someone asked this question. His name is Moses. Hi, I'm 28 years old this year and aspire to be like you. Okay. Can you please tell me a few pointers I need to do at this age right now so that when I reach your age, I can be like you? Okay.
Moses, thanks for that. You can never be like me, I can never like you. So each of us is different. But I just share from my own experience what has been useful. So relevant, very relevant to this session, tonight's session. Money and finances is important. So this issue of financial security is something that is that I was worried about as a young man, and so it's something which I took great interest in, and which I struggle a lot in also. This investing is so complicated, risk of losing your money and so on. So one of the decisions which, looking back, I'm very glad I make the decision, is to learn about investing, learn about financial planning. I basically decided that the best financial planner I can find is myself, because I have the greatest interest in my own finances, right? So
the best financial planner you can find is yourself. This is a quote of the day. Someone please write it down, please, and pin it up. The best financial planner is yourself, right? Agree, right? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so to be the best financial planner for myself, then I have to be qualified as a financial planner, right? To the same as other financial planners out there. So I undertook this studies to become a certified financial planner, so that at least if I talk to an insurance agent or a financial planner, I think they cannot bluff me because I also have the CFP qualification. So that helps. So then the other big thing to me will then to ask yourself, besides money, what else is important to you? And I dare put out this statement that while money, while important, is not the most important thing in life. So you have to ask yourself, what is important to you in your life? Money is important. You have to take care of yourself, take care of your finances. A lot of people will say health is important, so you have to stay healthy, not just for CPF life, not just to get income for life, but a healthy life will mean that you can do a lot of things which you cannot if you're unhealthy. So how do you take care of your body, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally? So this aspect is very important. And how do you keep in the best shape as far as possible? And then I will submit that another very important area for us is in the area of relationships, right? That will make life very, very meaningful, whether it's your family, your spouse, your children, your relatives, your friends, right? Whether you make time to invest in this relationship. So I think what I said probably will apply to the vast majority. So if you want to take this as a advice or recommendation, then I'll put to you think about money, think about health, think about the relationships.
What a wonderful way to end. This one. The most one thing is money, health, and relationship, right? Okay. So now this I just want to repeat again for those people who don't know, who just came in. Okay, Mr. Soh has been a great financial mentor for me for 20 years. 20 years, right? Whenever I'm in Singapore, I'll go for a walk with him, and then we talk about life, we talk about money, we talk about finances, we talk about general things that make our life more meaningful. I've benefited tremendously for 20 years, and I kept this super secret. I refuse to let it out. Now tonight, I gave him to you guys to know, and you all have kind of juice him dry. But I hope that you appreciate Mr. Soh and his openness and his humility and his sharing tonight. Let's give him a round of applause, right? Well done, right? Okay, yes, let's clap by clicking like and so on, right? So we really appreciate you sharing with us, Chin Heng, for tonight, and it's wonderful, Any last words?
All the best to everyone out there. I think it's a great thing that Lou is doing, sharing all this with you all. I hope you all appreciate him. I think he's doing a lot of great work. I'm very thankful, and it's my joy, my privilege to work with him, and I've learned a lot from him as well. So thank you for having me in this session, Lou.
Thank you. Okay, so for people who just be a commercial, tomorrow we are doing a session with Money Hour CEO. Her name is Chun Ting. She will be not just answering questions on insurance, but also some questions on investments as well. They are in what we call a non-conflict financial advice. Okay, so this is tomorrow we'll explain more about it. I invited her to our session. Tomorrow will be equally, if not more exciting. Okay, because tomorrow we are at her office. Okay, now interestingly, okay, the whole finance industry is dominated by men, but she is one of the few ladies, and we know that our community here, I think 70 or 80% of you are ladies because of Premium Mall and so on. So we thought that it would be great. We can get a lady CEO from a finance industry to come and enlighten you guys. Okay, she was of course far wiser than I am and things like that. So I hope that tomorrow you'll join us at 8 o'clock. Okay, 8 o'clock. Tomorrow we go live on all 4 channels again. Facebook, Premium Mall and Premium Mall.sg, and Instagram and YouTube as well. Okay, so Thank you. No, thank you. Thanks, Chin Heng, for such a wonderful sharing. Thanks, everybody, for such a wonderful audience, and thanks for all the lovely questions. Okay. Yes. We'll see you again tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. Good. I will say good night to YouTube first. Okay. I'm going to end the call. End the YouTube one. Okay. All right. Thanks, Chin Heng. I'm logging off from YouTube.